she really needs to come to me because we all need to use those middle names. I've been partnered with her since she's a year and a half, and she's from Guide Dogs for the Blind. She's my second guide dog, and she's an amazing girl. So I'm not retired, and either is she. So we're gonna keep on trucking for as long as we possibly can. But I'll give you just a little information about myself, and then Neeraj will do the same. So I actually came to Vista Center as a client in the 90s. I was working at a place you may have heard of, C's Candies. I was the director of training there, and I had worked there for 13 years. And in the last 5 years, my vision changed. I have a congenital eye condition, and so through surgeries, I was able to maintain it. But then after a period of time, the vision starts to diminish. And so I turned to Vista Center at that point, and I took some time off of work, and they came to my home. They taught me how to travel with a white cane. They introduced me to technology, and basically, brought back all of the things that I thought, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do those anymore. And so I stayed with C's Candies and worked again another 8 years with them. And I contacted Vista Center at that point and thought, I think I need to give back to this organization, because especially with people that have congenital and progressive eye conditions, the fear of vision loss is always much worse than actually knowing how to adjust and adapt to it. So I reached out to the executive director and said I would be happy to volunteer. And there was a position that was open. And so I had to, leave those peanut butter patties behind. And I started to work for Vista Center. And that was 17 years ago. And so I'm on the leadership team now. I report to the CEO. And then as Wendy mentioned, my role is mostly working with corporations to help them in their products or their research around accessibility. So is the product properly designed, and or if it's an existing product, how to adjust and adapt it. And so Neeraj works with me on that as well. It's very exciting, and we've worked with almost every tech company up and down Silicon Valley. So I'm excited about the work that I do, and I'm really thrilled to be here. Both of us work with service organizations as part of our responsibilities. And so you'll see when we go through the presentation how much that partnership for service orgs is so important to the nonprofits. So Neeraj?
Yeah, thank you, Alice, and thank you all for having us over here today. So we really appreciate that. My story is pretty similar to Alice. I joined Vista Center about 4 years ago, first as a client, and then I became a volunteer, and then Alice recruited me to work with her. And ever since, I've been working on a lot of the projects with her. My background is in actual operations and finance in the corporate world. I was working for HP Snapfish, a photo sharing company. And my story is that when I started to experience a lot of vision loss, I didn't know what to do. And that's part of what our presentation is today. It's kind of like, what do you do when you experience that vision loss? Who is out there to help you in these situations? And when I found Vista Center, not only did I learn a lot of what we're going to be talking about today, but Alice really provided that path for me forward, that there are ways to adapt there. And even you'll probably see my earpiece in because I just read my screen reader through my notes. So there's always ways to adapt, and that's kind of what we do here at Vista Center. So thank you for having us today.
Thank you for being here.
So we can go to slide 2. And who am I looking at when doing the slide?
I'm on your left.
Okay, great. Thank you. So you can go to slide 2. Thank you.
He responds to verbal cues too. You don't have to actually.
Oh, perfect.
Next slide. Just like Cora.
Yeah.
Just like Cora.
And I'm sure you're good looking too, so don't worry.
Not really. Biblical cues, actually.
Yeah. So what this slide is, it shows the Vista Center, our mission statement, basically, right? So as I kind of just said through my story, even through Alice's, we really believe there's no barrier when it comes to vision loss. We evaluate life first through evaluation, then we counsel our clients. We train and educate them on what services we offer. And every plan we make is personalized per each person to see where they are in their life, whether it be as a youth, a working professional, or just anyone in the retired age. So there's plenty of ways to help anyone who's experiencing blind and low vision. And this is really how I live the mission every day through my own experience. We can go to slide 3. So this is what we call the challenge slide. This is kind of what Alice was referring to earlier. When you first start experiencing vision loss, there's a lot of fear. How can I do my daily tasks? How can I cook? How can I go to the grocery stores? How can I even come here today? And I'm sure now you saw 2 different ways that Alice and I came, with either a guide dog or my white cane. And because of my white cane, I feel the confidence that I can meet you guys today. Otherwise, honestly, I would have been at home and I wouldn't know how to manage my my vision loss. I feel a lack of independence, a little bit lower self-esteem. And that's what you start to fear in the beginning. And that's a lot of the challenges that we face. And I know you guys like stats, so just a heads up that about 700,000 people in California are considered low vision, and this number is expected to double in 2050. So,
and there's a reason for that. Many of the conditions that lead to significant vision loss are age-related. So you may have heard of macular degeneration, glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy. All of those typically are what we refer to as age-related eye conditions. People are living longer and they're living independently longer. There's probably many people that in this room that your parents retired, a lot earlier than we are now. And so everyone needs to be active and engaged in their life. And so that's why there's an increase, a significant increase planned for people with low vision.
Yep. Thank you, Alex. And then we can go next slide. This is basically this is vision loss. This is exactly what Alice just talked about, that a lot of common vision loss is related to age or disease or just genetics. So there are different things. A lot of times people believe blindness is lights on and off, but that's not the case at all. There's different varieties of it as well. And Alice just covered the main ones: macular degeneration, glaucoma, cataracts, diabetic retinopathy. And then another statistic on this slide, I believe 65% or 65% who are visually impaired or 82% who are blind are over the age of 50. So that kind of gives you an overview of that.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, and then we can go to the next slide. And Alice will talk about this on who is Vista Center.
Okay, so I think we're going to give a little history first. We have been providing services in the community for 85 years. It began in Palo Alto, and that is still our headquarters. And so what has occurred over time is that we have merged with other agencies for the blind. As you probably know within your jobs, it's very challenging to fundraise and keep the doors open. So approximately 87% of our clients do not have the ability to pay for our services. And that's the same. So what occurred is we merged with an agency down in Santa Cruz that was called the Turner Center, and they're now serving clients in their area. And we also merged with another agency in San Jose. It was referred to as the Santa Clara Valley Blind Center. And we did that just a few years ago. And we really believe that if you are experiencing significant vision loss, you should not have to travel 50 miles. So to get the services that you need. And with these mergers, our board approved. We were very committed to serving the community. It also has put us in a bit of a deficit, but that's why we're working in development to get ourselves out of that, because meeting the needs of our clients was of utmost importance.
Yeah.
I think next
and
slide.
then the next slide, Vista Center today.
So today, it's a very exciting place, and I'll tell you why, just with the evolution. We had one executive director that led us through into an amazing journey, opened up our new Palo Alto office with us. That's a Stanford-owned building. And Pam Brandon retired after close to 30 years of serving as our ED. And then Corey Lyle joined us 3 years ago. And her background was in technology, and then she moved to the nonprofit world in homelessness. And so who we are today, we'll talk about this as we get into technology, but we really believe that we are a thought leader in the area of access technology. And with that in mind, you'll find out a little bit more about what we do, but we do